OTB AM.
With Gillette. Get into your flow with the new Gillette Labs Razor with exfoliating bar.
Some of these critics, these pundits,
I absolutely adore them lads. I have unbelievable time for them, but they're a great bunch, but it's not acceptable.
They like to play the hard man when they're on it. It's not very pleasant when you're trying to manage a team. All you're looking for is a bit of civility and a bit of decency, but they just miss you like you know, you have nothing to do with the bloody occasion.
Quick picks, 8:24 Friday morning. Tommy, good morning to you.
Morning.
How are you getting on?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. We were just debating in the ads there about how the three of you were fawning over that clip of Rory Canavan doing his little sort of solo with the head up. A skill you can do yourself, is it? Or
Oh no,
you can't solo with your head up?
Not like that at that pace. You can solo with your head up. You can do it like you can slow down and put your head up and look around you and scan. But at that pace, Adrian, come on. Have you ever done that?
Oh yeah, that was a mainstay.
When you were back in hurling training this year?
My mainstay in my game. I mean, it's easier to do with the hurling, obviously, but
well, I'll put it to you this way: James O'Donoghue had never seen it like that before.
Do you know what? I feel like an awful fraud having any sort of counterpoint to what you're saying when James O'Donoghue. Whatever about you, Tommy, and your amazing football prowess. Who am I to argue with James O'Donoghue?
Very true.
I did feel as if you were gilding the lily. I'm not going to lie.
Gilding the lily. What does that mean?
The pass was unbelievable. I thought you were over egging the skill.
It wasn't the pass. Well, the pass was brilliant, but it was exceptional. The pass
was the pass not better than the solo?
No.
What do you think?
It passes like Rory Canavan is going to be a star, and it already looks like. I know you kind of were you kind of like potentially theorising that he could be dropped in pretty soon. Said at your own panel that he could almost do a job this year, Tommy. The thing about this guy is that he looks stockier than Dara. I'm not sure if that's right, but it looks like he can almost like slot into senior level quicker than his brother could. And like I'm surprised by Dara. We haven't seen more Dara maybe this year for Tyrone, and I'm sure he'll have a glittering career over the next couple of years. We'll probably have a Tyrone forward line where the two Canavans will play, but it looks like Rory's even more capable of slotting right into that team. Like, I mean, I obviously would have watched him quite closely in the semi-final more than any other game this season when he destroyed Kerry in that second half. This kid is amazing. This kid is absolutely fantastic, and I think it's going to be next year, Tommy, when we actually see him make a serious impact. We're not actually going to be waiting too long to see him make strides in senior intercounty football.
I think so as well, Owen. Paddy was asking, can he be brought straight in? Yeah. And James is kind of like, no, it's too early. Lads are too young at that age these days, you know. Canavan's still underage for 20s next year, so
needs must, Tommy.
Well, you know, he may be in the mix for the qualifiers this year, depending on who they get. You don't know, because there's obviously been such a turnover in the Tyrone squad. One fella who'll definitely be in there is Matty McLeanan's young lad.
Do you think he has the physicality for intercounty football, Tommy?
Well, if anyone does, Owen, it's young McLeanan, and I wouldn't be afraid of sticking him on the edge of the square.
He's 25.
Yeah, he has to be.
Which was the better skill?
The kick pass. I love a kick pass. But everybody is taught to solo with their head up. I guess it's just the pace, isn't it? That maybe is the key factor here. People naturally, when the head goes up, the pace goes down. The kick pass was exceptional. But like, I mean, whatever Tommy and James say is
exactly. How do you argue?
No, lads, everyone is told to solo with their head up.
No one does it.
Watch the football. Is there any football in this? There's only games on GAA Go, so you may not watch it. Watch the football next weekend in the 4 provincial finals.
Tommy says,
and point out to me, Adrian, how many people solo
here,
with their heads up.
I'm not saying it's not done. I'm not saying it is done. You're 100% right. I'm not saying it wasn't a very impressive bit of skill. It was class. I'm just saying, I just thought you were gilding the lily.
I'm getting a tone here, Tommy, that you're saying that we won't see any heads up soloing in the Tailteann Cup. That's a big setback for this competition, that we have the host of the football pod slamming the basic skills of the Tailteann Cup.
That is absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm saying in anything. Like the only dub that Paddy suggested did it was Michael Darragh McCauley, and I
heard that. No, I think that's right. I think he's right.
Featured enough.
No, yeah. I think he was right. I thought you paid no attention to it at all. Yeah. We'll take that as our cue to move on. I think we have a leaderboard, which is incredible. This is the first time. Why do we do these leaderboards? They're just a waste of time. They're a total waste of time. And I should point out as well that the asterisk there on your man, who's number one on the list, is because, like, basically it's been easier for him to get there on. Because he's had to
skip the hardest week.
Yeah, exactly.
He skipped the week where Mayo got beaten, and
dipping in and out.
You weren't in that week.
It'll be embarrassing for you anyway, Tommy, if you don't, given your role that we've just been discussing there, if you don't end up top of that leaderboard, yourself or Will.
Yeah, predictions aren't an easy game, boys. You know that as well as I do. Where are the rest of them today?
They're crying off, but they have sent through their predictions. So some brilliant permutations. We're going to get straight into it. The hurling to begin with, unbelievable permutations here over the weekend as to who's going to have to advance. Kilkenny versus Wexford is first up. All 5 of us have gone for Kilkenny here. It's probably one of the most straightforward. Are you grimacing on the basis that you think Wexford?
Well, I grimace whenever we all go one direction in this, and also the fact, I think it's just once in the last 5 games Kilkenny have beaten Wexford over 70 minutes. Yes, there's a history to that doesn't seem to exist with this Wexford team at the moment, that they maybe, despite their league form, have come off a peak that we saw a few years ago. I just think that when you bring the quality that they still have in that squad into proceedings this weekend, it's not a sure thing. The one thing that's kind of given me confidence in picking Kilkenny is that you have Brian Cody coming out saying we're looking at it like we're fighting to stay in the championship. Like almost as if they're the wounded animal rather than Wexford, who drew at Westmeath last week. So when Brian Cody is talking in those terms, you do tend to fear Kilkenny. Obviously Kilkenny can be beaten. I think that on their day Dublin, Galway and Wexford can all beat Kilkenny, and I think we'll see a really exciting Leinster Championship over the next couple of years. But this weekend I would certainly be tipping Kilkenny at home. Right. I want to get through these at some pace, Tommy. Have you anything to add on that, or we crack on?
Nothing to disagree with Owen there, and I just think home advantage, Nolan Park, is a massive factor. Yeah.
Galway Dublin is next up, and again, maybe this is somewhat surprising. Galway all the way from all 5 of us. The permutations here is basically that's a shootout for a place in the Leinster final. If Wexford can somehow manage to hold Kilkenny to even a draw or beat them, then Dublin will go into the All-Ireland series no matter what happens at that game at Pearse Stadium. But a win will put them into the Leinster final. Could put them into the Leinster final, where if you're still with me, a draw for Galway will see them into the Leinster final, but they're already through to the knockout rounds. Is that all clear? It feels like an Owen Sheehan explainer here. Hopefully fairly clear, but Galway on evidence, Tommy feels is the right call.
I think so, Adrian. I've always found it difficult to warm to the Dublin hurlers over the last couple of years. I find it hard to back them. I haven't ever seen them really do it. And I think they're actually, we go quite easy on them as well. I don't know, are the standards set high enough? I just don't know why Dublin hurling hasn't gotten to where it should have gotten to over the last couple of years. So
too busy signing autographs, Tommy.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Was it not selfies? Was that not the issue, Owen?
Was it selfies? Maybe it was. It is 2022. Obviously what are you going to do? Just turn down people looking for selfies? It was pretty harsh criticism. No, I'd be more worried about the reaction afterwards. I wouldn't read into it at all. It's like Galway drew at Kilkenny, and Galway beat Kilkenny beat this team by 17 points just last week. When we're making a prediction, I think that has to have some sort of weighting. You can't extrapolate results from 3 different teams, but I think for the 17-point gap, it would give you a bit of confidence in predicting this. I do maybe I'm just remembering the summer of 2019 just a little bit too much here. But I'm just a little bit cautious of how simplistic these 2 predictions feel. That there has to be some sort of cat amongst the pigeons, right?
Yeah, well, look, I think the biggest story on Dublin, as Tommy was talking about not being able to trust them, was the Wexford game in the league a few weeks ago, and everybody thought, Jesus, actually maybe there's something about them. But then the Westmeath result maybe cast all that into doubt as well. But it'll be a proper test of where they're at this weekend.
Owen, if there was to be an upset in these 2 games, who would you be going for?
Wexford.
Would you? Okay.
Wexford, yeah. I
just think Galway, if anyone is liable,
I'd probably say Dublin. Galway.
Yeah. Well, I can see why I'd say that, but and I know that there is a gulfing class between Westmeath and Kilkenny, the 2 opponents that the teams were analysing last week. But it's still one was a heavy defeat, and I know drawing with Westmeath will feel like a defeat, but it wasn't one. We're trying to pick between.
I think I could be wrong, but there might have been only a point between Westmeath and Kilkenny at half time. I know I'm sort of grasping at straws there.
Yeah, it was close actually. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Clare Waterford next up, and now we have a bit of a split at last. Owen, Will, and myself are going for Clare, and Aisling and Tommy, bizarrely, are going for Waterford. Waterford desperately needing Cork, Toulouse, and Thurles. Hard to get a read, I suppose, on where Waterford are at almost. Whether, Tommy, and you're going for them here, but are they genuine contenders or still a work in progress?
Well, we'll know on Sunday.
But you're predicting, so you're put your neck in the block here. You feel there must be. If you're predicting them to beat Clare, who are a genuine contender, right?
Yeah, but Adrian, were Clare genuine contenders in your head last week? You're saying that now, but were they last week genuine contenders?
I always come back to Tony Kelly, but like anybody's a contender when you've got him in the team.
Oh, of course. No, of course. And the manner in which Clare rose to the occasion last week was exceptional to see. And their fitness levels, their physicality, their athleticism, blown away by it at the minute. Like, they've clearly done incredible work over the last 2 years, and they're in a really good place. And there's a lot of players in that Clare squad who have come nowhere near their ceiling yet, never mind Tony Kelly. So this weekend, though, I just feel like the fact that Clare are in the Munster final, it's been a hectic couple of weeks. They didn't play round one. They've been back-to-back for the last couple of weeks. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think there'd be too many changes, but even 3, 4, 5 changes can kind of change the momentum, the drive, the engine of a team. And Clare did have a couple of injuries coming into the start of the Munster Championship. Mm-hmm. They've kept their team together. I wouldn't be surprised a couple of their core players are possibly tapered off or rested or whatever.
Clare players.
Yeah, Clare players. So I think because they don't need a result this weekend.
He's got insider information, is what he's saying here.
Yeah,
I have no information whatsoever, and I also just think that the quirk of these round robin championships, like Owen's talking about 2019 there, where Galway got caught, and it felt freakish that Galway were knocked out. If that happens this year at Waterford, it will feel like that, like they've managed to somehow leave it behind them. Obviously it's not in their own hands. We'll come to the next game, and I'm starting to doubt myself about my prediction for the next game. I just think Waterford are going to get the job done this weekend.
I actually think it wouldn't be freakish at all if Waterford don't make it through this. Galway, it did feel freakish, I agree with you. The manner of, I think they all ended on 6 points, wasn't it? And it was scoring difference that day in 2019, so that was mad. If Waterford don't make it, it's because they lost 2 games. Like, there's nothing freakish about that. They didn't deserve to beat Cork, didn't deserve to beat Limerick. And in fact, the revisionism that we're seeing now is actually, did Waterford just put a glass in the scoreline against Limerick late on, rather than the initial narrative was it a great comeback? You Michael Dignan this week saying that Waterford don't respond well to pressure.
That's something for me, I have to say. He actually said he thinks there's something psychologically wrong with them, that their option taking is poor under pressure, but also just in general play.
So the question is, does that motivate them this weekend as a dressing room wall scenario, or is Michael Dignan actually just right about Waterford? I'm possibly going with the latter here, and he might be onto something with regards to what we've seen. Like, the pressure in the league is non-existent, and they played really well, and they absolutely have the players to be in the top 3 teams in Munster. But there was a certain high pressure scenario last weekend which they didn't perform well in. I also think, Tommy, Clare have an opportunity to just knock Waterford out. Like we were saying, as if there's no motivation here for Clare whatsoever. You beat Waterford, you knocked them out, you enter somewhere. Sorry, I'm not saying you said that, but we often have this conversation around the team who are through, as if they've got nothing to play for. Still think there's a bit of a carrot there for Clare.
Stephen Gerrard approach here to it's important. It's important, the 3 points for us. Yeah. Tipperary and Cork is the other game we want to get to here. We have Owen, the only one who's going for Tip. We've Aisling, Will and Tommy going for Cork, and I'm going for a draw. I really, actually, the more I looked at this last night, I thought that's not the greatest call. The permutations here: Cork can win at Thurles. If Cork can win at Thurles, they're into the All-Ireland series, and look at maybe that clarity for them. Coming back from the brink is all that Cork need to grind it out. Tipperary needing a 7-point win, and for Clare to beat Waterford. So at least everybody's fairly clear in this one as to what's going to happen. But Tommy, you're feeling Cork?
Yeah, and I'm really tempted to change it.
Really?
I am. I just think there's going to be something chaotic, as Owen said. Something chaotic is going to happen. Both games are on side by side on Sunday evening. It's going to be mental. I think there's going to be some sort of drama. Now, I'll stick with Cork going off the back of their performance last weekend.
Let's wrap up.
Cork,
we'll wrap up with the football, the Tailteann Cup. Tommy, you mentioned a bit earlier on. Wicklow and Waterford will be the first ever game in the Tailteann Cup, and we're all going for Wicklow.
We're going. Yeah, I'm going for Wicklow, but like Waterford are 4-1, and Waterford shouldn't be 4-1. Fair enough, they were bottom or very close to bottom in Division 4, but they were very competitive in every single one of their games. Aoife Fitzgerald did get a tune out of them this year, and Conor Murray's been out talking. He's a very talented footballer himself this week about what it's like to be a Waterford footballer. They're not going to be that far away, but I just think Alan Costello came in halfway through the league with Wicklow, and I've seen some good things with them, but it shouldn't be 4-1.
Yeah, the Conor Murray comments are interesting actually, and will give you like a good degree of excitement around what this competition can actually bring for a few counties. You definitely get a sense off Waterford that they're looking over at Limerick and thinking to themselves, why can't we replicate what they've done on the football pitch? I think there's probably a bit of a playing resources difference, a significant one maybe. So maybe it's not comparing like with like, but they're made the point like they've really built on league form over the last couple of years, which has translated now into a first Munster final in quite some time. The Tailteann Cup will be as important as the league, at least for a lot of these teams if they do it the right way, and we've seen how that could be the building block for a team. He's also talking up the idea of playing in Croke Park. He says, talking to a few of his Leinster counterparts, it's almost like a slog going up to Croke Park. I think for Leinster players at the moment there's an obvious reason for that, but I think the carrot of playing in Croke Park for the Waterford footballers would be a big one, and for any of the non-Leinster counties involved in this. So hopefully this thing just kind of captures some sort of imagination over the next few weeks.
Yeah, Dublin and Meath, it seems, are the only teams happy to play Croke Park on. They're just
delighted.
No need to challenge any of that stuff. Wexford Athy is the last port of call for us, and now I'm surprised about this because I actually thought if I went for Athy that the rest of you were going the opposite direction, and I might have a bit of a shake because obviously it's a repeat of the game that they only played a few weeks ago, which Wexford came out on top of. So
yeah, I
that's
think
not a good sign.
No, it's not, especially.
Why have we all gone for Athy?
Well, like, I don't know. For me, it's because, like, if Offaly had won that game against Wexford in the Championship, they would have been the ones to take the 20-something point battering off Dublin, and they would be the ones coming in with their tail between the legs. Although we still probably would tip Offaly.
I go with that, yeah.
I think that like we shouldn't expect Wexford to put up to not get hammered by Dublin, especially the form Dublin are looking in at the moment. But I do think the magnitude of the defeat can have a bit of an impact. Like if Ben Brosnan turns on the lights again like he did last time, he scored 1-8 in that game against Offaly last time out. It could be a decisive factor. I think one player can actually turn a game like this. And the sounds from the Offaly camp have been a little bit mixed. Like I think Mahan's up for sure, but there was definitely kind of mixed messages coming out from post Wexford game to what we're getting now. So I definitely think it's not a coin toss, but it's only 2 or 3 points in it. We're
all getting carried away with this Offaly uprising, Tommy.
I was hoping Will O'Callaghan would be here because Offaly have been plagued by injuries over the last month, and I have no idea whether they've cleared up or not. Getting injury information off GA teams can be quite difficult, so it's all going to come down to that. Like, playing depth at this level is going to be one of the big factors over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks as squads go into the summer and they try and maintain their, the levels of physicality and athleticism as we've spoken about before. Offaly should have the quality if they have their players, so we'll see.
And one comment just to leave it on YouTube here from Thomas O'Connell. Does anyone think the negativity of the promotion of the Tailteann Cup has been a bit harsh? Promo the other day was very good and looks like they've made an extra content to come as well. Cup is class too, which I think everybody's on board with. Tommy, fair play, good man.
Thanks lads, see you later.
Well done, that's the quick picks.
I absolutely adore them lads. I have unbelievable time for them, but they're a great bunch, but it's not acceptable.